Action game number 3. Welcome back to the Money Peak Series Showmatch number 3, guys. This is, of course, round 2, I guess you could call it. A best of 7 going on between Axiom's Heart and Samsung Galaxy Solar. I do want to give a small nod, by the way. If you guys recall, back when we threw this all together, I talked a little bit about some money paying for this particular Showmatch, but let's not forget, we kind of asked, like, who would you guys like to see against Solar? And so many people said Heart. So it wasn't exactly a community vote in, but let's be honest, it was kind of a community vote in combined with caster bias, and I'm really glad we could get both of these players out for this match. So as we carry through game number 3, spawning in the northern location of the map, playing for Axiom Esports, it's going to be the blue Terran player Heart.
And in the bottom position as the pink Zerg, it is Solar from Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, and we kind of briefly touched up on it last game, but Solar is, yeah, he plays in Pro League. He kicked Innovation's butt in the IEM qualifiers. I mean, this is a Zerg player not to be trifled with. But of course, let's not forget, it was, I believe, just yesterday, Heart got out of his WCS Premier Group. Like, I mean, this is also a guy who's had some pretty good success recently in StarCraft 2.
Oh man, I forgot to turn on the game Heart overlay.
Oh, womp womp. You'll have to. Well, you can, well, I guess you're not observing. You can go fiddle around with the options menu right now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm afraid if I change it, StarCraft will be like, no, and like free.
Not allowed. Okay, so let's talk about Polar Night for a second. Again, it's a map that we... First off, the map pool, for anyone who's just tuning in, by the way, was set ahead of time. It's a loser's pick, and of course, combination of loser's pick with map vetoes allows these players to kind of customize the way they want to play this out. So, well, this is a map that might not be the best in the universe for a player like Heart. If he loses, he's got the comfort of knowing that there's other maps to fall back on. And it is worth noting, neither Neopolaris Rhapsody or Xeris Prime were vetoed from the map pool. So if this goes to all 7 games, we will get 2 really cool maps out of it.
What was vetoed?
Yansu, and I'm trying to remember what Hearts was. They'll remember. I can't. It was Yansu and something else. I think Ultrazine.
Oh yeah, that would be it.
I could be wrong. I don't really remember off the top of my head. It's in the chat. I can go look at it later, but when we're in a game, I don't have access to that.
Xeris Prime would be the type of map that Solar actually wouldn't have never played because he just would have immediately vetoed it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm a little bit curious too. Like Solar, we talked kind of jokingly about how like he probably wasn't even like a name back when like Entomb Valley and such was like around, but I wonder just like how much he actually played back when those maps were available. Like, was he the casual gamer, or was he like, whoa, picking off that Reaper really early?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Reaper got really wanted that drone. Unfortunately, paid the price for it. He does have a second Reaper coming, so the information will still be available, but the attack won't be as good. Actually, oh, that's a third Reaper. That's a second Reaper coming.
Yeah, that's okay. So this investment at Heart, guys, entirely to make up for that lost Reaper. It's not so much what's going on right now. It's not about getting it to pick off drones, but it's about buffering that Hellion push that follows it up. So like, that was a huge mistake out of Heart, having that Reaper die. That costs you a lot. That delays any sort of chance of a Banshee off of 1 gas. That stalls out when your Hellions come. The build time it takes to actually build the Reaper delays the reactor being made. I mean, as we see, the reactor is going to be still building when the factory finishes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to maybe a lot of people who you know don't play that high level, I suppose. But you know, imagine really how many professional players you see lose that beginning Reaper. It's actually not that high. That is actually a sign of like a really pro player, is how good they are in these early stages of these key units that are small in number but very, very important. And that's why every time I lose a Reaper, I'm like, I'm never gonna be a pro player. And I cry.
Zombie Ghost's dreams are squashed with 1 unit's death.
Exactly. I'm very extreme like that. But seriously, no, it is really important. He saw what he wanted to see, which is, good, but he did have to pull back, and the Hellions are late, and blah, blah, blah. Actually, looks like he's going to be going for a Banshee.
It's still going to be one that's kind of... It's not a Glock associated with it. I don't think we'll see Heart invest into too many Banshees either. Like, obviously, you love seeing 3 come out as a Terran player, because that's like your powerhouse number. But off of 1 gas, he's going to be very limited if he wants to get tech up behind it. If he wants to invest into... Like, I haven't seen Heart play much of mech, like, really ever. His forte is always seemed to be bio, so, his stim's going to be delayed. Everything's going to be delayed if he goes for more than 1 Banshee.
Yeah, he's not, though. I mean, he really shouldn't. Cloak is so cheap, right? It used to be like maybe you get 2 Banshees, you don't get Cloak, maybe, but it, there's no reason if you're gonna get 2 to not get Cloak, as it is very cheap now. But anyways, he's gonna swap over. Bunker goes down too. Maybe a little afraid of some type of attack coming in here. Again, sometimes if there's 20 Lings and your Hellions are caught in a position where they can't really maneuver, it can deal damage. Not happening too often in today's games anymore, though.
Well, I like this push being set up at a heart. Again, he's got that really nice composition. Even with the Banshee on it, means he's gonna kill queens like without question. But this is. For Solar, he doesn't have a lot of Lings out right now is the problem. He's got 12. Is he really going to go in? You see players specifically not going for what just was about to happen. It almost gets that full surround. If those Lings had been able to cup in those Hellions, that would have been devastating for Hart. But he gets everything out alive. He gets some kills for it too, I guess. But
that's actually not so bad. That could have been really worse for either player. But he's able to go in again. The Hellions, they're all mild. Damage taken too, so not even risking on losing one. I was owing because he got that Viking again, which I forgot that he got last time, which was really, really cool. So his stim was even a little bit more delayed. It still pairs up with the attack with Medivacs though, so that doesn't really matter. Upgrades are all starting to get going, and they will be behind Solars, as it usually is.
Again, the rocks being sort of chipped at back here. He didn't take down the rocks to open that pathway, but we will see, I guess, the safer fourth come out of Solar. Yeah. I mean, there's some players like Nurcio who they just won't give a flying gush. I'm trying to swear here, but he just won't give a fuck. Quite frankly, is what I'm gonna say, whether he takes this base or not. And it's not just him, but there's other players. And I gotta be honest, I really like the forward base. It's terrible for defense, but it really allows you to just push out a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker, have Lings right across the map. I mean, if it's comparing units coming from back in this base, guys, to already being halfway across the map. So if you're being aggressive, you're going to get a lot more out of this base being more forward than you will this sort of safer base in the back.
I see that, I do, but I like when they take the fourth one. I think it's a free fourth, which is really, really important in a TVZ. So.
I guess there's that aspect, the safety is a big payoff.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, and that's what I expect Solar to do, right? That's, actually, I think it was Impact was the first one I saw in the finals of the ATC, I believe, but, ever since then, it's been every Korean does it, so that's what I expected, that's what he's doing. La-di-da. Combo shows actually aren't done for this push, so, the whole thing is that you should be able to pick up and get away anyways, so it doesn't matter. But if he gets caught unaware and he loses this push, it's actually
he's trying to hold everything in spot for the Banelings to connect, but yeah, there's that pickup you're talking about.
Yeah. So he does get out of there. Actually picked up a Hellion. I don't know. I don't want to say on accident, but usually you do want to pick up all the Marines rather than the Hellions. The counterattack can be really strong because you do have to unload. Those are pretty much your only units right now.
Banelings, we get a couple decent connects off here. Of course, trying to go for that mineral line. But Marines have been completely dealt with, and now it's a lot of Lings on top of one bunker. Solar will retreat because the SCVs were already on top of it, ready to repair. And just a small nod, because you brought an Impact earlier. The Axiom guys have been competing in a lot more online cups than we've ever seen them before. Impact has been in almost every Zotac for the past month. We've seen Ryung come out last week too, and I don't really know if Heart's been participating nearly as much, but it's kind of cool seeing more, I guess, interaction from them as far as the weekly tournaments go, because it's not about notoriety, and they certainly don't pay out a ton of money, but it's a good practice scene, really. I mean, Snoot's talked about a lot of times how he particularly only signs up for these tournaments like weeklies and monthlies, so he can get the best practice possible.
It's good. And I know Hart's been talking about how he wants to do more in 2014, and that's a way, right? Do a lot more if you participate in a lot more cups. But this drop could do a lot of damage, and hopefully it will.
I thought you said Doom War, and I'm like, what is this, some sort of crazy clan war? I have no idea what a Doom War is, but Doom War.
The attack didn't actually do that so much damage, but it... I was gonna say he wants to, because his 2-2 is really late. His armory was really late. I think one actually finished before he even started it, maybe. So that's gonna hurt. He's gonna Solar, if he starts infestation bit now, could probably
no, the map is not looking good for Hart. Oh, but that
pick up.
But he can't pick up the rest of them.
Yes, he can.
It picks up a good chunk of them, but Still a lot of units do go down there. Solar, of course, it's the scenarios where like you kind of wish you weren't using your banelings with such low amounts of units, but still do anyways. 2 drops are going to go in the main once again. An Infestation Pit is on the way, so Fungal Growth will be a great way to help sort of seal the deal on locking these units down for those attacks, for those banelings. But for now, these Mutalisks are going to have to fend this off, and unfortunately, with this many Marines, he's going to take losses if Heart focuses.
There was a Viking in there too, just like barely helping out against the Mutalisk.
I'm helping.
This will be cleaned up. And I don't know if it was really worth it.
This push towards the third would have been fantastic, because the whole army for Solar was driven towards the main. Like, if he had pushed in, sniped off that base, and picked up and gotten out, that would have been the best case scenario for Hart. But, of course, now Solar's here. He's ready to defend it. We got, as Chad is calling them, light bulbs, not even banelings. It's just so darn bright, thanks to these stronger team colors.
Oh, the attack's coming right now.
Oh, one of mine should be good.
F it.
Oh, no, he unburrows it. Why did he unburrow it? What? He got one good baneling or Widowmine hit off, but the other one he unburrowed like manually, I guess. Panic mode. I don't know. Drop in the main again. Drop. Gets the spawning pool. That's actually pretty big. Of course, another one being built immediately, but of course, without a spawning pool means no Zerglings, which means no more banelings. That's actually a nice snipe for Hart. It buys him quite a bit of breathing room, actually.
He's already maxed anyways, so I actually don't know if it does. And there's no push coming either, so it always looks really nice when the spawning pool goes down, but a lot of times it actually doesn't even matter. What does matter is that the Hive left was untouched, so he's going to have 3-3 at a very good time for TVZ. He actually might have it at the time Hart remembers, press on it, so that could be really important. Usually you're a good like 60, 90 seconds ahead of the Zerg player. And Hart still has a really good army. Like I don't think he's been really taking the best engagements or the best drops, but he's not really been throwing away so much that he doesn't have a maxed army. He still almost does.
I've been trying my best, by the way, not to select units because everyone in chat is going nuts over the APM of these guys. If you guys watch during combat, if you haven't been down here in the lower right is the APM, and yes, these guys are insane when things get started. But Milo's going to be in the Nashville of Hart this time. He's going to kill every SCV here. And does Hart pull back? No, he goes forward with the Marauders. He's going to soak so many baneling hits with these. That is the intended goal. Widowmine hits are going to be good and take out a lot of these Lings. And he's got so many Marines still standing. Milos, of course, can't the production line, which means that as units come out one at a time, they will go down. There's, I feel like, still too much across the field, though. As long as Hart spreads, and he is spreading, it's going to be very hard for Solar to deal with this. But,
I don't know. The thing is, I feel like it's more probable for Hart to look at his Marines and die than Solar is to die at the front. And he's doing so much damage at that natural.
We just had 62 Zerglings get made and another 32 banelings on the way. I'm pretty sure Hart is going to get 8 moved upon.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So Hart, I think, just lost the game. Like,
that may be the case. His production is absolutely screwed at this point. Dealing with the Mutalist is hard enough as is. His army's been dropped. GG. Solar will take game number 3.
That's the whole thing, if a Zerg player can get on the other side of the map with his Mutalisk, then they're like in a really good position. So Hart was pretty much, he probably didn't think of it honestly, but even then he was like hoping that he was so aggressive that the Mutas couldn't go on the other side of the map and he'd be okay. The fact that they did actually was like the best move ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see it so commonly, so often, like where a player will just go with the Mutalist and they're either in a good spot or a bad spot. It's almost a gamble because you might actually need those at home. You don't know.
Yeah.
But
that paid off really well.